4 directors, 12 actors, 5 challenges, and 1 winner. This is Project Directing. Finally, after a long journey, our 4 directors arrived enthusiastic at the Project Directing studio, but only one can win the eligible title of Royal Holloway's Best Director. Welcome, contestants, to your first challenge here at Project Directing. Each week, you'll be given a different task to direct a scene within certain constraints. Those scenes, at the end of the day, will be taken to a panel of judges made up of faculty members and outside practitioners who will award points to you, 4 to the top, 3, 2, 1 down to the bottom. At the end of 5 challenges, the person with the most cumulative points will win tickets to the Crystal Pite and Jonathan Young show at Sadler's Wells, and also the top 2 directors will receive tickets to Jekyll and Hyde at the Old Vic. Who's ready for their first challenge? Let's go. Obviously, the first thing that the candidates do is check out their competition.
I normally wear little shorts because I like wearing little shorts because I don't know, free and easy. But leggings are so much better.
Now that you know everything about Courtney's preference in pants, I'm sure you want to know more about her. Let's have a look.
I'm Courtney Johnson. I am a 3rd year single honours drama and theatre studies student here at Royal Holloway. What I kind of want to get out of this lovely experience is, I don't know, playing with directing, getting a chance to do lots of different things rather than working on one massive project, getting some good feedback from the judges, whether they're academics or whoever they choose to bring, and kind of reviewing other people's work, seeing what people get out of the same kind of brief. That's always interesting, so it'll be exciting to see how it all pans out. My biggest competition will probably be Abby, I guess. I think, I don't know, because there's 2 3rd years obviously, so we're kind of like supposedly ahead of the game in that we are slightly further on in our degree, so hopefully they won't expect too much from us.
Abby, be careful. Courtney is on to you. Each week, you'll be assigned or get to choose actors. This week, you'll get to choose in a gym class lineup, 1 by 1. These have all the CVs and headshots of the actors. Take a look through, decide which ones you might want to go for, and then come back and we'll have the selection process. This is going to be a difficult decision. All of these actors have their advantages. For a professional actor, casting can be a cruel process. Will each actor find their perfect match to create a memorable scene?
So we've got a German speaker, which is good. That could be useful for something. Martial arts. Excellent. Very fit, flexible. That could be very useful for something.
I feel like there's a couple of people missing. Where's Jeannie?
No, Rebecca, don't worry. No one stole your actors.
So as a director, I usually turn to more naturalistic styles. I'm intrigued by, more abstract and other styles, but usually I do like what goes more to believable performances and usually just ends up more naturalistic. There's for different reasons. I worked with a couple of them before, which Emily, for example, I do know she's a good actress. Also, I don't know if some of the 3rd years might have more experience. It might be useful, or the 1st years who might be more eager. The only one I've seen work before is Abby, so in that case I would have to say her, but to be honest I would like to not think about the other directors. I think you can psych yourself out, so I would rather be confident in what I'm doing. So yeah.
Oh, another candidate is scared of Abby. Will she live up to the expectations?
I've spent 6 years kind of trying to build up her style, and the more I work at it, the more it kind of moves away from the literal and into the field of non-literal, so, and away from freeing the text and leaving the text behind. So I'm very into using a body to say things instead of words and using action instead of speech. I'm also at the moment very intrigued in the idea of taking senses away and stripping senses from the body and then looking at how the body can then react in a situation of character to that as well. I'm much more theme than character driven or narrative driven. Characters and narrative come into it, but I'd rather we tackle the themes first and as a group and as a sort of discussion base, and then build on that, then the narrative and the characters into it. So it's not just reading a play and reading those lines, it's about reading between the lines before you actually do anything else with it. Hello, I'm Abby. I'm a third year drama and theatre studies student. I've wanted to direct for 6 years, so this entire time I've been at uni, I've kind of honed everything I've done into a director's mind and how can I forward this. And I think graduating in July, this is the kind of best way I could end my university experience by trying to take on something where I'm not thinking what can I learn from other people, I'm thinking what can I show I've learned. How I'm working it is, because we don't know what the challenge is, I believe something you can put to every play is the idea of having a body and a voice. So I'm coming up with the assumption of having 3, 1 voice and 2 body. Looking at the CVs, I know most of the people. So I know, for example, I know Emily has a lot of training in voice. I also know Amber has a lot of training in voice. So that they're very kind of sticking out to me in terms of a voice perspective. Then I know people like Azan and Liv have fantastic physical abilities. So I've kind of split them into 3 categories and then ordered them in those categories as to where I feel they place as doing voice, physical or both. Like, I think the person that's most different from me is Grace, because Grace does a lot more text-based things, whereas I do a lot of like freeing from the text and leaving this. But everyone has such a different backing of theatre, such a different appreciation to theatre, that I think the competition is equal and we have to all like watch out, because everyone can whack something unexpected out at the last minute, because yeah, it's hard to say.
I'm Grace Hopkins. I'm a second year drama and theatre studies student, and I just hope to learn really and to get some directing experience, like on the fly, really sort of improv things as we go along and see what happens, 'cause it's not my normal, so it's exciting. Yeah, they're all fantastic. We all have our own things we're good at and things we're not so good at, so everyone has got ups and downs, and so we're just going to see how it goes. I think it's going to be a bit of a roller coaster. I think probably actually Will is our biggest competitor.
Don't worry, Grace. I won't steal your spotlight, but you should be careful about Abby.
I really hope I get who I want. I don't know how many to choose, but I don't know if we're allowed to ask. I don't know. I think we get 2. I think. I don't know. Do you know? I think I'm done.
Great. If you're done, I can finally give you today's challenge. Actors, directors, your first challenge is to create a 3-minute scene where power shifts from one character to another without using any words. To decide who chooses first, we'll roll a die. The person who rolls the highest number will choose first, all the way down to the lowest number. Second choice will go from low to high, and then third choice again from high to low. And Abby, you'll be rolling first. You rolled a 1. Off to a good start. Roll number 2 is Grace. Grace, you rolled a 6. Don't celebrate just yet. Rebecca, your roll number 3. Rebecca, you rolled an 18. And last, Courtney. Courtney, you rolled an 11. So it will go Rebecca, Courtney, Grace, Abby. See, Grace, I told you. So we'll begin with Rebecca choosing first, down to Abby, and then back to Rebecca. So Rebecca, your first choice.
Can I have Harry?
Harry.
Can I get Nikki?
Nikki.
Catherine.
Catherine.
Can I have Azan?
Azan. And your second choice, Abby?
Can I please have Emily?
Emily. Back to Grace.
Can I have Amber?
Courtney.
Can I get Poppy?
Olivia? That's it.
And now for the last round, you can either choose to pass or choose an actor. But once one person has passed and has decided to work with 2, then you have to choose an actor. So Rebecca?
I'm passing.
Rebecca will pass. Courtney?
Can I get Liv?
Liv?
Felicity?
And
I have Alexis.
Fantastic. Great. So you'll now have an hour to work on this scene. Again, your challenge is to create a 3-minute scene where power shifts from one character to another without using any words. For this scene, you'll be judged on originality, your ability to convey complex meaning without words, and your overall direction. Go on. Go!
Come, baby. First kind of thing that popped into my head when I was listening to the kind of brief is the play The Maids. I don't know if you know about it, but it's basically two maids' relationship with their kind of mistress, and it's about a kind of constant power struggle in that they kind of really hate her, but they really want to be her, and it's like all about kind of wealth and femininity and all of that. So I'd quite like to kind of use that as a kind of starting point. It would be quite good if we had a maybe kind of sister relationship between you guys, because you look quite similar and you're visually quite a unit, which is quite nice. And then kind of bring you in as maybe the higher kind of status figure, so there's a big impact, and then we can have like a kind of shift.
Well, the very first thing that I thought about, because we are all girls as well, is kind of like a bride picking bridesmaids. There we go. Just because it's kind of a very competitive and very female.
Yeah.
Almost be like getting ready, like you said you wanted the sisterly relationship, like we could be getting ready together, and perhaps if one of us is the older one, then that's where the power lies, and they could be like, you know, you said you wanted to use like makeup and stuff like that, like someone could be like putting on the lipstick or something, and then like, you know, you could be putting it on and you could smudge it or something, and get really annoyed and like help you kind of thing, and that's when like the bride could walk in or something, and that's when the power like dynamic would shift.
Can we sing?
Okay.
We're just not allowed to use words.
Right.
New sound. So yeah. Can you sing?
Nope. Sorry.
I was like, yeah.
I'm not even gonna be like, no.
Yeah, because like it might be quite nice to at the beginning as well, like or after. I don't want to call it a play date because that's weird, but it might be quite nice if you were like, maybe you get upset or something, and you're like comforting her by kind of singing to her.
While Courtney's group discover their feminine side, Rebecca first needs to unpack all her secret items. Will she have a secret plan to win project directing in there too?
So do we want to have the weaker person, but then we'd have to transition that over so it would be like, I don't know, if you want to do like a physical thing, would there be like, I don't know, objects in the middle and it's like, they get put down and then picked up, so then that shifts the power, or a certain object has that power.
Also, how he talked about, showing complex things, the mirror might be most useful.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Should we go for the mirror then?
Yeah,
for now,
absolutely.
just some decision making, just to.
Okay, that's fab.
Let's go for those first. I don't want to work with too much
No,
at the beginning. So let's do those because they kind of link together.
Yep.
I think. What you also could do is having like lipstick or something. You can use, you can draw something.
Yep.
You can draw on the mirror if you want to as well. So we can mirror or yourself. The mask you can draw on.
Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah.
So we'll keep that as well. Yeah. Great. My name is Rebecca. I'm a second year drama and theatre student at Royal Holloway. I want more directing experience. Also, it's very nice getting feedback from respectable people. And as well challenge myself, especially when it comes to time pressure and thinking quickly. I'm really pushing myself with these challenges, but I just hope to develop my directing skills.
Instead of brainstorming like the other groups, Abby decided to try a different method.
Get more and more intense until that partnership. Make the shape with the 3 arms up into your eyes. Two shoulders. Lap to your elbow. Oh, you would do both feet. So, with our body, what sound can we make without using our legs? There's one. That's a sound we can make. This is another sound. That's also a sound. Put this together. What does that say? So essentially, you can see already how you can start to form narrative, and the way you do it is important. As I'm doing it, is a powerful gesture. You go, it's changed completely, but the sound is still there. So then we can all be doing the same thing, but we'll be saying very different things, and you can converse through these things. You can go to someone and be doing it at the same time and have a conversation without even using your face. So this is our aim. So this is what we're going to do. How we've worked before is we listen to a song, we try to take from the song things that we like. So I think these are things we can't use music is close your eyes. I know the room's quite loud, just let it well. And just choose a song you're very familiar with, one that you know well, one that you connect to in some way, that makes you feel something. Think about the rhythms that lie in the song, whether it's from the bass line, from the piano, from the vocal, from the drums. Think of a rhythm that lies in it. And once you've chosen it, just start to tap it out on your body. If you just want to tap it on your tummy, that's fine. If you want to clap, you can stomp it out. Just very quietly start to bring it in with sounds, however you feel natural. And just start to give it a go. And when you feel like you've come up with a little motif that you want to use, do it over and over. Open your eyes and just start to move around the space and do it. Once all of you have opened your eyes, come together and continue to do it, and we'll know that we've made something. So whenever you're ready, just tap it out. Once you're ready with your eyes open, start to move around the space and do it. Start to feel it in how you move.
Does Abby have a plan to distract everyone else with that noise? Let's see if it has an impact on her biggest competitor, Grace.
I really imagine like a sofa seat, so we'll put 3 chairs together, where you and your mum are already like completely the same, but the little sibling's like, okay. And so it'll be real cute, like so a little bit of like just a, oh, okay. They are like a little family. And then in the next minute, we'll have more scenes with the auxiliary woman, and then so that when we then come back to sort of family scenes, it's not as in sync anymore. There's this rift, there's this change, where you'll lead these sort of regimented stuff all the time, and you guys will be so focused on her, like we've been completely in sync with this like with your mum, like this is the person that you want to be, but in this next minute you start to maybe sidestep out of that in a metaphorical way. You're not as like, anyway, this is not the way this is not the walk I want to walk. So literal metaphor. So yeah, if you think about that.
Afterwards, turn it back into a very much like
playful light.
Okay. So can we have a longer moment on the smile, the relief, and
then
the hug?
Yeah.
And then can you kind of like, because you'll be wearing the coat at this point, Nikki, can you kind of like tag it, like as if like, right, take it off now.
Okay.
And then you do take it off, and then you're like, actually,
Okay, make it longer, make the moment longer.
Okay. And try, I know it's really hard, but try not to like mime. Don't like speak, but
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know, I'm doing it.
We're in a completely normal world where you do speak.
Okay.
So think of it more as a ballet than a than a play.
Than a literal. Okay.
Cool. Right.
Where do you want us? Should we go from lipstick?
Let's go from
or?
the coat.
Okay.
Right back.
So I'm putting it on now.
Yeah.
Go from you put it on.
You've just put it on.
Okay.
Okay, great. Can we do it again?
Yeah.
like,
Sorry, I'm like I'm an overwriting person.
Directors, attention, you have 30 more minutes. I'm going to come around now and check in with each of you.
We're kind of working on a kind of dressing up pre-event situation.
Okay.
So these guys are kind of like coming in, they're tidying up the room and stuff, and basically Poppy's going to be like the bride or the mistress or the dame or like the kind of power figure that's going to come in. So we're going to have a really automatic shift that's going to be kind of like a wealth power thing. And then the idea, we're running out of time, but we need to like start blocking Poppy's kind of, even though she's got everything, she's not mentally very powerful. Whereas these guys have a much better relationship and they're much happier, whereas she's not.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of difficult things to convey all in there. And you have till 1:15.
Yes.
Yeah. So, good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Bye now.
Go.
Okay,
So you're here. Yeah, fling it over you and then pull them this way.
Okay.
So then they end up next to each other like this, facing you, because you're going to spin round.
Okay, so we'll swing. So we'll like.
Yeah, like that. There you are. That's like a reindeer. That's not part of it, I promise. Cool. Right, let's give that a quick run.
Abby, can I check in really quick?
Yeah.
You guys are making a ruckus over here. I hope that it's something a little more complex than he's stringing them along.
Yes, no.
Okay. Okay, good. Good. What are you thinking of in terms of making this sort of power shift? And it seems like you've found ways to make things audible without words.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Tell me about that. Tell me about using sound as a sort of word substitute.
We've expelled voice as an idea, so there is no voice of any sort within it. So we're using the acoustics of the body and the power of rhythm as a sound. So the idea is that they each kind of cringes. They want to go to the sound of their own drum, so they have their own rhythm that then he takes from them. And the string is kind of a visual aid of how he is in power, and then the power shift is going to... So it's basically, it's a gender power shift, basically.
So when you say cringe as it is, beat to your own drum, what's going to prevent the judges from cringing at a sort of beat to your own drum idea?
I'd only just thought of it now that you're interviewing me, so hopefully they won't think of it either.
Okay, good. You have till 1:15.
Yes, I know.
Yes, I'm excited to see it. Looks fun.
say that you need a mirror to have a power. So maybe when you take that, okay, sorry, I'm just thinking. I'm trying to get the best story for you as well, so you both have like a story, because it's very obvious with him.
I think it's possibly my character doesn't really know the authority of the other.
Yeah.
So they're assuming that they're higher than your character, but it's trying to work out how much. You know, can I own this mirror? But it's kind of a constant battle.
Okay, let's go with that then. Let's see what happens. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
So start from when you hit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So just look in the mirror and we'll see how this works. Why don't you, Olivia, come in one more time and with real authority, even more than curiosity. Yeah, with authority coming in, yeah. I think it's going good. You know, my challenge for this is really time pressure.
Yeah.
So, but we got a good start, so it's really just to get the climax working and make it most effective for the judges to watch.
Do you think that you're at an advantage or disadvantage having the two? I mean, you chose to pass, but do you think that you made the right choice with 2 over 3?
I do so just because I like to concentrate on few people to get the best out of them. So I saw the potential in these two, and I am confident in my decision.
Great.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing it. You only have till 1:15.
Yes,
I know. Gotta get that climax in. Go,
definitely.
go.
Thank you.
See you.
Do you want it to be stylized at all when it's on the sofa? Or not?
because
some
like
bits of it, yeah.
what I'm thinking of is chair duets because I've done
Yeah,
a load of them. So there's lots of stuff we could do with that. So we could both bring our hands over or move like in and out of each other.
Yeah.
Or like just repetitiveness to like
Yeah.
repeat the mundanity of it,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
every day.
Like you could
So
steal
that
the
when there's
remote,
a
change it, and I'm like,
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
and then it's just repeated.
Lacking a little bit of confidence to go with this full hog. But if you're comfortable, you've all done chair duets.
I haven't.
You're comfortable going with sort of like repeated movements, that sort of thing. Okay, yeah, I like that. We're going for a power shift between a mother and a daughter. So the mother is very like regimented. She's very set in her ways. She's from an age where homosexuality is illegal and that sort of thing. And this daughter, she goes from coming back and going back into sync to then being like, hang on a minute, this is not me, going out of sync before she then steps out and looks at her family for the first time, and then kind of like she will then take charge. She will lead her own life instead of her mother leading her where she's going.
And how will you convey all those sort of specific meanings without words? How is that sort of...
We're working on that at the moment. We've got, physically you can see the power shift quite easy, but then you can't at the moment see the mother, the daughter, or like who they are as a character, which is what we're going to work on next.
Getting that specificity of meaning, I think, is what's going to make something come across, or else it may be too jumbled. Remember to think that people won't get that preface before they start seeing it, right? They're going to have to interpret that meaning.
Yeah. So that's what we've got half an hour there, so have we actually got till...
Sorry, no, then actually you only have till 1:15.
20 minutes, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what we're going to work on now to try and get that clarity in. Oh,
sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah. Cool.
Great.
Thanks.
Great. Good luck.
Thank you.
Everyone worked hard on their piece, but now it's time for the judges to see the outcome. Who will be able to blow their minds and get one step closer to winning Royal Holloway's project directing? As our directors arrive to show their final performances, they have no idea what's in store for them. Do you guys think that you guys are at the top for the bottom two?
I thought it was a great start, but it had a lot of potential.
I thought the actors felt they were always on the edge of miming.
Welcome directors, actors, and judges to our first challenge showing of project directing. I'd like to introduce our two judges for today, the head of the drama department at Royal Holloway, Elaine McGurr, and Dr. Bryce Lease, one of the senior lecturers in the department as well, and myself, who you've spent the day with. Really excited to see your first challenges. To remind our judges of the criteria, the directors were asked to create a 3-minute scene where power shifts from one character to another, but they're not allowed to use any words. Today, you guys will be judged on your originality, the ability to convey complex meaning without words, and your overall direction. Let's see what you guys have. Thank you, directors and actors, for those scenes. The judges will look at our scores and deliberate and ask some questions of the directors in just a minute. So, thank you.
I think it was really interesting to see the different ways that people interpreted it. Like, they were all pretty different.
I thought there was a bit of cliche.
There was a bit of cliche. A lot of it was just too silent. I said you couldn't use words, but I didn't say there couldn't be any sort of sounds at all. And there was a few sort of, like offbeat thumping, but beyond that,
I think all of them used sound except for one, though. Isn't that right? It was just the last one that was completely didn't actually
silence
engage
can be
sound.
very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to incorporate noise, it's got to be for a purpose.
Yeah.
It's got to do something.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so scene one.
I didn't feel that there was a radical enough shift in power.
Yeah.
And I just felt, even when apparently ganged up on, the male body was still exerting too much authority and control in the situation.
Yeah, and it was like one female body, because it looked like it was a sort of gender thing, and it looked like one female couldn't stand up to a man, right? It had to be like a team, in order to tackle
Although that's a kind of coalitional politics, which I wouldn't, be against in principle.
Yeah.
There were I like the opening rhythms that they used. I actually like the brushing of the shoulder. It was kind of unusual. It was an unusual rhythm that was maybe kind of ambiguous without being ambivalent. And there was something powerful in it. But I agree that this male figure dominated, and I actually thought the use of the string was sloppy.
Yeah.
So it either needed to be a different object or material that connected the bodies, or else they needed to get rid of that as a concept.
So, okay, on to number 2. I thought that some of the movements were really engaging. Like, I loved the snake around movement. Captured me. But then, and I liked how it repeated, and it was a little different each time, and you could see the build up to moving away. But that sort of like, okay, now we'll just stand up and start over again, seemed like very abrupt. Seemed like less informed.
Again, I had a problem with the ability to convey complex meaning and the construction of a narrative where it seemed more a story of failed rebellion than a shift in power.
I agree.
And that the central character was central throughout, and there wasn't a real handing over of power to someone else. So I don't think it fit the brief.
I agree. I think this one missed the change in power dynamic. What do you think?
Yeah, I liked simultaneity. I liked that she had two opposing things happening on stage. She was one of the only people who had that. I thought the use of repetition of this character, which was a very kind of Pina Bauschian idea of repetition, was very strong. And then the image that it was juxtaposed with wasn't strong enough to create any tension. There was no tension between these two moments. So it was all very dispersed.
Okay, so then number 3.
I think there's some potential there with physicality and with using smallness to denote power, but again, it didn't really step into that the physicality neither intimidated nor seduced, and it could have.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you where the power shifted from to who. Like, I don't know where it was.
Vacuum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was. Yeah, the kids are playing, and then power's there, and now they're not.
Though I liked the soundscape, and I liked her enjoyment and pleasure of the coat. I enjoyed the kind of pleasure of the material. I thought the actors felt they were always on the edge of miming, or even wanting to sort of almost fake talk. They did resist it, though. They did resist that temptation, but the temptation was definitely there, which meant that this was a kind of pre-scripted scene as opposed to, like I said for the first one, a clear set of decisions and concepts. And maybe that's why it fell into a kind of feeling of narrative of something that's recognizable, like The Maids.
4?
I thought it was one concept that, as we were saying before, you've seen it before, I've seen this before. The mirror is a very, very obvious metaphor. I like this kind of mapping of the face, which maybe investigated the idea of appearance a little bit.
To me, it seemed familiar also, but in a way, like it seemed to me the sort of narcissist story, but in a way
like
that
Dorian
I wasn't.
Gray.
But in a way that I wasn't like seeing it. But in a way, I was like, okay, this is a sort of riff on the narcissist story, or it's investigating that.
Yeah, I also thought this was an interesting way of telling a story about narcissism and that the power dynamic of narcissism, which is both a powerful and a powerlessness simultaneously. I thought it was an interesting way of interpreting the brief and of telling a story about where we get our sense of power from.
I was sat at lunch actually, and I was like, I've just had the best idea ever. I should have done that. So it wasn't my best work, it wasn't the best I could have done.
This will definitely be a big learning curve. I usually expect to have either a script or a story or a purpose before going in.
Overall, I was really pleased with how it went because we only had an hour to really kind of get through it and come up with ideas and make sure everything was how we kind of wanted it to be.
It's so hard because I don't think any of the pieces was much alike, so I find it really hard to compare them. So honestly, I have no idea what gestures will go for. I think we all did great.
Welcome back. So we've had a chance to discuss things, and we've come up with a sort of top and a bottom of two people. And so we're just sort of going to ask questions of you two at a time. So first, could we have Rebecca and Abby? So, do you guys think that you guys are the top two or the bottom two?
I can't guess it. Everything's so different, and we're all such different. We've studied such different modules, and we all take things from our modules and put them in the work that we do. So everything is so different. So I'm.
But in terms of power shift from one character to another, in terms of sort of the criteria, originality, overall direction, do you guys have an instinct?
I would hope we're the best. I mean, I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Abby's piece. I thought it was very clear. And I thought she took the challenge well.
I was going to agree that I think ours were perhaps clearer in terms of the power at the start and the power at the finish, and the kind of through journey of power shift and struggle.
Yeah, well, you are both in the top, so congratulations. And I'm just going to go one by one and just sort of ask. We'll start with Rebecca. What were you thinking in terms of this piece? Can you tell me about your piece?
So, I showed the actors the props to first ask them if they had any ideas with the power and the props, and they immediately liked the mirror, and we thought about image, self-obsession, how you can see yourself, how others sees you. So therefore we just went with that and explored different ways of using the mirror with using power.
Do you have any questions?
I really enjoyed the sort of retelling of the Narcissus story, and kind of being a slave to reflection. But I think we missed seeing the reflection a bit because you're working on the floor so much. Yeah. It was very hard to see how one sees oneself being seen, which is sort of the point of the mirror. So I think you could have played with the idea of reflection, and where that power was. Is the power in the mirror? Is the power in the reflection? And how does that get manipulated? So I thought it was a great start, but it had a lot of potential.
Abby, can you tell us about your piece?
Yeah, thinking on our feet was really hard. So I looked at the group and was like, right, we have a boy. Gender is going to come into this somewhere, because like it was just the first obvious thing. And without words, I think we didn't want to spend time trying to weave a narrative to you in any way. So we wanted to go for things that were plain. Again, like you, I got all the props out, and I was like, which ones do I want to use? And we had a recorder, and I was like, no, I'm not using that. And we landed onto string and an umbrella, and we only ended up using string. And I knew I wanted to eliminate voice completely and try and use rhythm and an idea of people talking in unison or alone with rhythm. And we spent a long time, like from the start, just trying to build that as a group. And most of the time went into just trying to work out how we could weave rhythm and use that to speak and use that to say and have conversations and work through that.
So, if you were to develop, where would you invest your focus, do you think?
If we had more time, we would have rehearsed it more, because the thing is, the rehearsal of the string never broke until we wanted it to, so it never seemed a struggle until in the performance it then became a struggle. So I think we'd invest more time into the use of looking at objects and how we intend to use them. And again, I think the umbrella was something that we wanted to use, never got around to doing, and that would have been something maybe that would have replaced the string and moved through more. I think we would just really spend more time as a group experimenting and moving through with ideas like gesture and then also what's literal. So I think just more time to have experimented with the idea of no voice and what happens instead of that.
Great. Thank you both. Thank you. Thank you. And now we'll hear from Courtney and Grace. Grace, tell us about your piece.
It was very haphazard in its coming together. I think I wanted it to be more narrative than it ended up being, in the sense that we're having three women having a sort of like a feminine power struggle in the sense of family, so having a mum figure and having children in that, and what happens when you don't want to keep in check or with what your parents say anymore. However, it moved with my inability to get the narrative across without words, it moved into, I think, more of a sort of interpret it how you want to interpret it, because its regimented form could be society, like trying to break the chain of this motion of you get up, you go to work, you do the movements and you get through life, and when you start to break that, that's when it's like we've got to do something, get back in line type of almost like Charlie Chaplin with the sort of machine of life.
I think for us, what it sort of read as was that the power never ended up shifting for us. It sort of looked like the machine still was in charge, and then like one person sort of left the machine, but that didn't necessarily sort of shift the power to them. And for us, that's where it sort of fell down in terms of that criteria, is we didn't really see someone new having the power. Great, thanks. Courtney, can you tell us about your piece?
I was kind of initially inspired by The Maids, which I was doing quite recently, the James Bond production, and the kind of complexity in kind of power and status in groups of women, and embarrassingly watching lots of Say Yes to Dress, weddings, and kind of that sense of performance in kind of clothing and material things and makeup and things like that as well, kind of really interested me to begin with. The thing with the lipstick at the end as well, something that gives you power, gives you kind of a boost in confidence, if you like, can then actually be kind of turned against you to kind of humiliate you and to bring down your own sense of the power that you have. So yeah, I kind of initially I knew I wanted to use kind of lipstick, and I knew I wanted that kind of group of kind of, the statuses were already set. I think in that regard I didn't really meet the brief of the kind of shifting power, but I was kind of interested in those kind of set status roles of the kind of top dog, if you like, or the bride. That kind of status is already set, but there are kind of waves in that. There are kind of moments of tipping and overlapping, which I think if we'd had more time and been able to kind of work through that a bit more, it would have kind of filtered in a bit better. I think we got about kind of 60-70% there.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the soundscape, and I enjoyed the pleasure they took from the clothing, the material.
Yeah, we really worked on that. That was one of the things I was like, oh, give me more, because it was very kind of childish to begin with, and I didn't want that. I wanted something that was very kind of sensual and
Yeah, and when suddenly the church bells arrive as this woman comes out and sort of supplicates, I thought, okay, now we're coming to a third dimension of power, which could go any direction. So what I think we discussed was, when the lipstick was missing from the coat, she immediately knew where it was. Whereas what we were kind of anticipating, the excitement, was that moment of discovery and the need to discover, which would have allowed maybe this question of power to be articulated in
I wanted that to be a much kind of longer moment. We were worried about time of it because we were slightly over the time. So I think that's why they kind of rushed through that. But yeah, it was meant to be a very kind of eye-focused moment of fun. Both are, there it is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Great. Can we have all four, please? And so I wanted to tell you all that it was a difficult decision, that we thought that there was a sort of close range between all of you, so it wasn't like heads and tails above. I think it was a close race, but there does have to be a spread of the points. So here's how it's going to go. Today, congratulations, today's highest scorer is Abby. So Abby will have 4 points. Rebecca, that means you'll get 3 points, and then 2 points will be for Grace, and then 1 point for Courtney. But we are looking forward to seeing what you guys do next week for the next challenge. Until then. And thank you also to our amazing judges, who I think have given some great feedback and some really good food for thought. So thank you. See you next time.
Cool. Thanks.
Be sure to tune in next week to Project Directing.